When I think of pirate-themed adventures, I immediately envision sailing the seven seas, commandeering other ships, ruthlessly killing merchants and other pirates, looting everything they have, dealing with mutinies, and digging for buried treasure. I hate to be the one to disappoint you, but Pirates VR Jolly Roger surprisingly has none of these things. You are on a hunt for buried treasure though, and as developer Splitlight Studios' second game on PSVR2, the first one being Haunted Insane Asylum game Afterlife VR, I have to say they've come a long way, and I really enjoyed what they did here.
Listen to me, mate. This be very important.
Jolly Roger kicks off with an interactive cutscene explaining your mission. An aging pirate hands you a map detailing Davy Jones' last known location near Frigate Cay, and sends us out to track down the treasure he was hunting. It's about as basic as video game stories get, but it's just enough to get us on our way. And as the game fades in, we find ourselves already on the island in question. And it looks pretty nice too, running at 90 native with lots of foliage that sway in the breeze and trigger headset rumble when you walk through it. There's some blur and pop in as you look out on the horizon, and the anti-aliasing does create some trails and muddiness here and there. But overall, I'd say this is a damn good looking indie game. The audio here is no slouch either. The soundtrack does a pretty admirable job of delivering decent background music, but I don't think it punches quite as hard as it should during certain segments. Oh, and the voice acting overall is kinda laughable. Sorry, Andy Mack. Your parrot companion's as annoying as you'd expect, but fortunately you have the option to silence a lot of what he says.
Can't you just fly?
And the voice of our pirate, you know, the character that we're playing, keeps making me think of what Lester the Unlikely on Super Nintendo would have sounded like. He freaks out if you drop even 2 feet to the ground. And actually, pretty much everything he says sounds really wimpy.
Oh, what a tight fit.
But that's pretty much where my criticisms end. Right from the get-go, Pirates VR Jolly Roger checks almost every box for a proper VR game. You start out on a beach with a lot of freedom to explore, and the next 45 minutes or so plays out like a mini Metroidvania, as you learn how to get the key that's needed to enter the bowels of the island. And from there, it's pretty much a linear trip, with plenty of climbing, swimming, ziplining, exploration, combat, and even a boss fight to round out the adventure. Which of course I'm not going to show you here, because I don't want to spoil it for you. There's a good amount of puzzles here that shouldn't be too taxing, a lot of just matching symbols to other symbols, but they're always VRAF, and whenever they show up, they're a good break from the action. Even the combat here is pretty satisfying. You start off with a lantern that you charge up and blast away evil with, but soon enough you upgrade to a standard flintlock pistol, both of which utilize the adaptive triggers on the sense controllers. It's super basic and there's only a handful of different enemies total, but just like the puzzles, it's all done well enough and pretty satisfying. I only died a handful of times, so none of it's super challenging. And I would have loved a new game plus mode with harder enemies or permadeath. But if you are looking for replayability, getting the platinum will require multiple playthroughs of certain sections, and asks you to beat them without dying or even using your gun.
Follow me. This way.
Now, I know this is going to turn a lot of people off, but from start to finish, I seriously doubt it'll take anyone more than 3 hours to finish Jolly Roger, even if you're taking your time exploring every corner. And normally I'd be pretty disappointed with a 3-hour adventure, but there's a lot of variety here. You're never backtracking through environments or seeing the same assets over and over just to prolong the length of the game. And just when you start getting sick of the beach, you're ushered into the caves, and then you hit a massive underwater area, and the variety just kind of keeps coming. What's here is really well done, there's just not a lot of it. I feel like I'm starting to say this in practically every review, but it's especially true for Pirates VR. I hope this game does well, so that maybe one day Splitlight Studio can make a bigger, more exciting sequel that has us sailing around, visiting multiple islands, digging up buried treasure, and all of the other piratey things that aren't present here. But that doesn't mean I wasn't happy with this adventure, because I really was. Sometimes a 3-hour adventure is exactly what you need.
Well done.
We live in a world where it seems like if a game isn't at least a 9 out of 10, people start getting angry, saying developers are lazy, or if the game's not at least 8 hours long, then it's total trash and shouldn't be sold for more than $5. Well, I'm here to argue the exact opposite. I think we need more 7s in our life. Games that cost $20, take a few hours to beat, and deliver on the fun and quality from start to finish. And that's exactly what Pirates VR Jolly Roger is. It looks nice, has enough puzzles, action, exploration, and variety to keep me playing, and when it was over, I felt like I just went on a fun, little quality adventure. Longer than a movie, and only a couple dollars more expensive. So I say keep them coming. I'll take 10 of these a year.
Oil for the lantern. Perfect.